Let's make an email sentiment classifier to see how my dog feels about me. Here, my dog sent me some emails. I've received the emails, we've pulled and analyzed the sentiment and written whether he's happy, neutral, or angry about me into a Google Sheet. So what exactly are we building here? There are going to be a couple of moving pieces which we need to set up. Everything will be free, and the blog post describing this whole flow will be linked in the description as well. In the flow that we are building, we will need a couple things to start. We will need a trigger.dev account. This will be a platform that allows us to schedule long-running tasks, and all the business logic will sit inside this service. We will need a Composio account, which owns the authorization for both Gmail and Google Sheets, and it will manage everything related to auth, such as storing access tokens and refreshing them when needed. And we will need a Claude subscription. So for the workflow, we will be using Claude Code to build and the Claude API to analyze sentiment, but any LLM API that you want will work. And finally, we need one Google Sheet, which is the destination for the output of the sentiment. I got my terminal and my Claude Code running up here. The first thing that we need to do is actually grab the repository, which is linked in the blog post. And this will actually contain all the necessary code that already sets up the entire trigger.dev system. And while that's cloning, we can start creating our resources, which will be necessary once we have to start grabbing the API keys. So first for trigger.dev, when we go there, first time you create a account, you'll actually land on a new project page. But if you don't see this, you can always click create new project in the top right. So here I'll call this YouTube test. And once you get here, you can go to the API keys and grab the API key for your development environment. So trigger.dev has a development and production environment. For now, we can grab this. Next, Composio. You'll create an account, and all you have to do is also here, go to API keys in the sidebar and click create API key. I'll call this email agent. You do have to give it write access because it needs to be able to write down all of the user credentials that it ends up grabbing from the different services. And finally, in the Claude platform page, we can also create key here. And we will have a copy of this as well. Finally, create a Google Sheet, and the ID that we will need will end up being in the URL, everything that looks like the ID. Okay, so the repository was done cloning. I will open my VS Code. What we can do is grab the environment example and copy that into a new .env file. And I will just go through and copy all of these keys into the respective slots. Also for the trigger.project.ref, that will be also gotten from the, you can actually go to the project settings and you will see the project ref right here. We don't need a prod key yet. Deploying to prod will be a very similar process, which we can go through in a separate section. But for now, we will be running just on our development environment locally. We can leave Anthropic model empty for now. It'll default to Haiku 4.5. And for the watch sender, this is the actual email that we will want to watch. If you don't put anything, it's gonna pull all the emails, but it'll only pull like the last 10 emails for every run. And for Google Sheet ID, we will grab this ID right here for the target sheet ID. Okay, now that everything is set up, environment keys, environment variables have all been filled out. So now we can start our dev server. we can just do npm run dev. Oh, I need to go into the folder. Okay. Oh, so the environment file has to be inside of the folder so that the npm environment can find it. I put it outside the folder. Okay, so once it's running, if we go back to project, if we go to tasks, we should be seeing all the different tasks which were registered. So we have 5 different tasks as part of this project. The first 4 are actually just setting up the client, and the final 5th one is which actually pulls the inbox and does the email reading. So the next step that we will do is actually authorize Google Sheets and Gmail through Composio. So we can just provide this prompt to Claude, and Claude will actually read the script that's necessary to call Composio and give us the consent URLs. Oh, let me actually make this my own email so it gives me the right URLs. Okay, it's finally given me the consent URLs. So these URLs are what we can actually paste directly into Chrome and authenticate. So I will click the email which I want to connect. Since I've already done this, it's not actually showing me the services which I've provided, but basically I've given it full access, and it actually does require full access if you want it to be able to read your Gmail and your Sheets. Great, so Composio is connected to Gmail. Now we just repeat the same process with Sheets. Okay, great. Once we've connected, we can actually see in the Composio dashboard that if you go to the Users tab, you will see that this email address has connected apps, and it's connected to both Gmail and Sheets. Now, once we have that authentication done, to actually start the workflow, you can run this command where you can say, please onboard the client. Right now, the default onboards and pulls every 2 hours just to prevent spamming your account. But since I want to test right now immediately, I will actually ask it to pull every 2 minutes. So it'll basically set up the job to pull every 2 minutes. I'll change this back to my own email. While that's running, we can go back to Trigger Dev and we can see what runs have previously been executed. So if we go to the runs, we will see that we actually have the tasks which connect the client to Gmail and Sheets have been completed. So this was what the step we just completed, where we got the consent URLs. Great. So now that the onboarding is done, if we actually refresh, we can see that 2 new tasks have been done. The onboard client has started the scheduling task, and the poll inbox is what is actually started to poll. And right now, we see that it's actually read the last 2 emails that Beam has sent me, and those have been pulled, and they seem to have been thrown into the sheet. Great. Now you see like these last 2 emails showed up. I actually did switch the model. Previously, I was using Opus, and Opus classified this angry email as neutral, but now Haiku classifies this as angry. What did he actually send me? He sent me saying, I'm disappointed. I can't believe you ate chicken without me. I guess our friendship is over. So I intended this to be angry, and I think Haiku is getting this correctly. Let's try sending one more to see if this happens as expected. So I'll send another angry email to myself. Let's come up with something here. All right, this should classify as angry, I hope. This was the happy email. And if we just wait another minute or so, we should have the next poll complete. Let's wait for that. Okay, this email came through, but we have to wait for the job to actually execute in the next minute or so. Okay, one run has shown up. And if we click here, we can actually see the logs for all the emails which we have gotten, and I believe it has picked up all 3. Okay, great. So it's picked up the last 3, and the email that we just sent has been classified as angry. One thing that we can do to improve this is to remove the dedupe so it doesn't keep throwing the old emails into the sheet. But as you can see, it has pulled the last 10 emails, and it has classified the existing one that we've seen as angry. So final thoughts. This type of system can be now expanded to handle a variety of business functions. The whole idea of service authorization, where Composio actually has many different services which it supports, such as Slack and Outlook and most other business software. So we don't actually have to roll auth by hand much anymore. Trigger.dev does really well in task scheduling, so this is a super simple baby example, but we can add many other scripts and combine many other services for long-running tasks. And finally, in terms of LLM analysis, we can make this a much more chained workflow where we can have chains of LLM calls, parallel calls, or even other types of tool calls to do things like cleaning messy data and routing different types of tasks.